And 3, 2, 1. Here we are. Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials. No bullshit. So, Colby, thank you for coming on. We're rushing. These are impromptu interviews. I mean, this is off the fly, is off the cuff you can get. So, um, you were talking about how sports talk radio was just piling on Fangio about wanting to get rid of him. But remember what they were saying last year? It was, okay, if this doesn't work, or when they hired him, when they finally hired him, they said, if this doesn't work, we're going after Elway. This is going to be on Elway. Of course, no, we can't mention that. We'll get locked out of the building. So Von Miller calls up, and because he has to, and it doesn't want nothing to do with these people at Sports Talk Radio. That's obvious. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And of course, the reaction by them, to me, is what the focus is, oh my God, how dare he bow to our feet? He disrespected us so much. And it's like, first of all, like I said, he doesn't owe them anything, number one. But here's the thing. Sandy Clough did actually say something that actually made sense. And I just happened to catch it, but it really put everything into motion along the lines that we're talking about and have been talking about this whole time. Sandy Clough was talking about, this is Von Miller's, the way he was feeling it towards, these interviews, is a manifestation of frustration over at Dove Valley due to the power vacuum at the top of lack of ownership. And we all know that translates as Elway. Now, I think there's a lot of feel-good fans out there that don't want to look at the 10,000-pound elephant in the room, the lack of ownership in Elway's lack of GM. He's the Tommy Maddox of GMs, So, any rate, you have Von Miller calling up, and I agree with that. I think that he got sick and tired of hearing about, this is, got to fire Fangio, hearing all this talk about all this stuff instead of pointing the finger where it goes up to the top about the situation that's going on with the Broncos. I do think it's a frustration situation for him. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is the firing of Fangio. How do you think he's listening to that every day?
Can I touch up on the Von Miller thing before? It's going to be quick before I...
Oh, no, take your time. Take your
time. Me and you have been right all along about this. I am sick and tired, and I'm pissed because those guys are the embodiment of sports talk radio. You've got to be kidding me. Brandon Stokely should be ashamed of himself. He is a former Denver Bronco, and for him to spew that crap on sports talk radio, trying to get Von Miller to say, oh, well, it's the last year of your contract. Are you going to leave the Broncos? And to sit up there and say that you did nothing wrong when clearly Von Miller was pissed off that you asked him a question so stupid, and Zach By sitting up there on his clown nose, honk honk, trying to frickin', oh well, I did nothing wrong, and playing the victim card like he did today. Oh, Von Miller is one of those players where I have great respect for because how he turned his career around and his life around. That guy is the embodiment of a Pat Bowlen Bronco. That guy is a Pat Bowlen Bronco for you. And you're going to run this guy out of town?
And Fangio, don't forget, and Fangio too.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch up on that. And the people that are defending that crap, you are the embodiment of Bronco fans right now, because I am sick and tired of this. And I was right about Fangio. I said they're going to run this guy out of town. I was right about Drew Lock. They're going to you were right too about how they're going to run these two players, the player and the coach, out of town. And I agree with you. Fangio was pissed. And did you see the Bill Belichick thing that came out?
That's what I wanted to know too. That's another thing.
That is a direct shot at Elway. And if that's a direct shot at Fangio. You got to be kidding me. That Bill Belichick piece that came out where he said that he doesn't have a chance to coach the Broncos, that's a direct shot at John Elway.
That's not the first time. That's not the first time he's done that. Everybody knows that, he knows what Pat Bowlen brought to the Broncos.
He was a coach for the Broncos. He was a special teams coach or whatever.
Yes.
Bill
But
Belichick, he knows how it goes.
Yes. And he's seen what John Elway's done. No, he's not the only one. Von Miller is a Pat Bowlen protege and sees how Elway screwed this up. Now, going back to former players on Sports Talk Radio, none of them will challenge Elway. Mark Schlereth did once, real hard. But then his wife got after him, cut his balls off, and put them in her purse. And he never would go back. And he apologized. Oh, I was so hard on him. No, you've got to tell it like it is. If you're up there and you know what's going on, you got to tell it like it is, even if it's your buddy. If you saw me getting into commercials and totally, changing the thing, you'd say, what the hell? You have every right to say something like that. So these clowns like you, and I agree, the clowns at Sports Talk Radio, former players, they will not say anything because they don't want to upset the John Elway apple cart, And like I said, if I could get Brittany Bowlen on a one-on-one and say, do you have what it takes? You've got the trust, right? Oh, they're got your back. You have the what it takes, the spine to say, in a very diplomatic way, we got to move in a different direction. I don't care. You don't have to get radical. Just end it. Cut the head off the snake, end it. And move on, but then again, you got, maybe she can do research, something like that, and find an actual GM. But yeah, we see the writing on the wall already about how this whole story is going to end. You see it.
Do you think Von Miller's done here?
Well, what do you have to look forward to? What did we say? What did we say? What did Talib say? He said he got rid of all the dogs. That's what I get out of that interview. And then talking about contracts, that's just the icing on the cake. And I think Clough is right. There's a much deeper underlining issue going on. It's not about me being a Von Miller fan, okay, at all. If this is it's a much bigger situation than that.
I'm on Von Miller's side here, and the people that are siding with Sports Talk Radio, that's the embodiment of you don't know the deeper issue that's going on here. Von Miller is not stupid.
Well, they don't want to know.
Aren't stupid.
They don't want to know. They don't want to know. That's why somebody in the comments section said, I hope you, and I apologize, I should get your name right, I hope you grow. And I just laughed. I said, they're too busy agreeing with each other. Agreeing with Sports Talk Radio. I mean, this is the guy that got you the Super Bowl. This is, like you said, the Pat Bowlen protege player. And, you're ready to kick him down the road. But Von Miller brings a lot more to, even at half speed. You know what I'm saying? Even at half speed, you want the guy on there.
He's this Derek Thomas. And that's saying something. I think he's, in my opinion, I didn't watch much Derek Thomas growing up because he was before my time.
Derek Thomas, yes.
Von Miller is one of those players where you try to keep him happy. You try to do everything in your power to keep him on your team because he is a difference maker. He is a difference maker. He had people last year. I'm going to bring it up. Last year, he had that knee injury. People were still double teaming him. I know.
That's what people don't understand. It's not that he's gone down in sacks. It's what he's bringing on the field. You get the Malik Jacksons on there, the Derek Wolves. You separate all those players in their own individual parts. No, they're not going to be as good. You as a GM, as a coach. You bring these players together who play off each other, and it's a toxic environment for an offense. That's what you're doing. But people don't understand the bigger picture, bigger picture of it all.
And I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to go on Fangio because I'm right about this. I was right about this from the beginning. He was fired because I told everybody he was going to have a short leash. I knew it. I knew it from the start. But going to Elway got DeMarcus Ware. That was a clear Pat Bowlen move. Because you remember when they brought in
Pat Bowlen / Wade Phillips, right?
Exactly. That was a Wade Phillips, Pat Bowlen move.
Yes.
And that reminds me so much of Neil Smith because DeMarcus Ware turned Von Miller into the player he is. Because we weren't thinking about Von Miller before DeMarcus Ware.
Yes, people forgot that. People forget
that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to the Vic Fangio thing. Sports Talk Radio, I'm calling them out again. You've got to be kidding me. You're gonna blame Vic Fangio for the record but the players that he has on the field. What would happen if you had Mike Tomlin here, for example? He would have probably the same exact record, maybe a little bit better, but he would have the same exact record. And I'm going to be Sports Talk Radio. We're going to run this guy out of town. We're going to piss off our best defensive player, probably our best player since Peyton Manning.
Well, I got to ask this question.
I don't get this.
Well, I got to ask this question to Sports Talk Radio. You run Fangio. Everybody had success with Fangio. Okay? Everybody around the league is watching. Everybody around the league is watching this.
Belichick
which goes back to your Belichick comment, okay? Everybody around the league is watching this shit show, right? And you get rid of Fangio, who had success everywhere, but for some reason, he couldn't have success there. Is it Fangio?
No.
Or who's going to want to come in? That was I couldn't believe Fangio wanted to come here.
I think he got duped. Coming here. I really believe he got
thinking you had a longer leash, but I don't know. Maybe him and Elway do have a good relationship, but it's not going to last long if he doesn't relinquish player personnel decisions. Because you're handcuffing me. I can't do my job with what you're giving me. And let me ask you this. Do you think Stokely is getting some information somewhere, like where Elway wants to lowball Von Miller, and so he's testing the water out? You know what I'm saying? Using Stokely to test the water out a little bit. We'll see if he'll warm up to that idea.
Stokely's an idiot.
Well, I've always known that, yeah.
Even when he was here playing, I was never a big fan of Brandon Stokely. Even when he was here playing, and I remember the Kyle Orton era, the only time he was so famous was that tip pass in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's the only time he's ever been famous for being in a Denver Bronco uniform. I don't think that's that. I think he's just doing what he's told to do.
Yeah.
And that's to piss off your best player in the Denver Broncos. Even when he's... If this was Sports Talk Radio in New England, and they were doing this to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, that wouldn't go on long there, because they have stability and they know they have stability.
Well, I wouldn't even say New England. I'd say something like the Seattle Seahawks.
Exactly.
Pete Carroll. That's a better example.
Yes.
They don't have the greatest year. They're not talking about running them out of town, but they need to take a look at the player personnel that they're getting.
They're not. They're now looking at that. They're only looking at, coaching matters. Well, when you have C- D+ players that can't do anything, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, just give up on free agency altogether. Well, wait a minute. Didn't the Broncos win 2 Super Bowls in Elway's career based on free agent acquisition? John Beek brought them in, GM, John Beek. Not Shanahan, by the way, Denver Bronco fans. That was John Beek. But they built that team on free agencies. But you need the balance of both.
I counter people with that. You think those free agents would have came here in 2014, 2013 without the man at the helm, Peyton frickin' Manning? I
Yeah.
always counter Bronco fans with that because I don't believe that was. I believe Elway was the final stamp, but the one that influenced those players to come here was Peyton frickin' Manning.
And who influenced Manning to sign the dotted line?
Pat Bowlen.
It was Pat Bowlen. That's right.
I knew that because everybody was talking about, oh well, Peyton Manning can relate to Elway because Elway won those 2 championships late in his career. Everybody was pushing that narrative.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that narrative. And I knew from the start when Peyton Manning signed here, and I saw that press conference, you saw the smile on Pat Bowlen's face.
Well, it was
Manning
Bowlen who said it right. He said it outright. He said, "I'm here because of Pat Bowlen." You know,
exactly.
Basically, Elway lured me enough here to talk to Pat Bowlen. Pat Bowlen, after talking to him, I decided to stay. He made that very clear. Bronco fans can live in a fantasy world if that's what they want to do.
They live in a fantasy world because they're sold crap. From sports talk radio, from Mike Kliss, from all these idiots out there that have no idea what they're talking about. And I actually had it. So I'm going to tell you something on Twitter. I don't know who it was, but I was on Mile High Huddle, okay? And they were saying, oh, well, you're living in a fantasy world. You're doing this. You're doing that. And I'm going to tell them this. How the hell am I living in a fantasy world when I'm not getting paid to do this? When I'm going out of my way to explain to Broncos country, and me and you are doing this because I feel like I have an obligation to tell the truth. We both do. But when does the line come to an end when we're like,
well, no, it's all going to come. The chickens are all going to come to roost on what we're talking about. And the last thing they're going to ever do is acknowledge, like, and I guarantee, well, we've been saying all along that Elway was just not. You wait for that.
When you started doing this, and I went to Sports Talk Radio, they pulled this card where, well, we tell the truth on this station.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I wonder where they got that. I wonder where they got that from.
Exactly. It's right after you made these videos.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we tell the truth on the station. We piss off the best players on this team. We don't blame Elway because Elway is God.
Yes. You were a great quarterback. We love you for that. But you're the Tommy Maddox of GMs.
I'm so upset by for Sports Talk Radio today to come out and play the victim card. Just tells how stupid and ignorant they are.
Yeah.
I don't believe a word that comes from any of these Sports Talk Radio places.
It's definitely not going to help them. They'll have their core.
They're going to lose viewers.
Fans, but that is definitely something that's going to turn off a lot of people, a lot of fans, and it may wake up a certain group that says, yeah, maybe Von Miller is really sick of what's going on, and it's an undisclosed way of saying things aren't very good at the top.
I'm going to ask you this real quick. Because they were pushing this narrative of how Vic Fangio and Von Miller didn't get along. What do you think of that situation?
Well, I think first of all that Von Miller's sick of sports talk radio. Number one. I think that he sees the coach and like other people getting thrown under the bus, the guy that really needs to get blamed, not getting blamed. I think it's a very frustrating, and Sandy Clough said this very diplomatically because he doesn't want to get locked out of the facility, you know. He didn't use the word Elway, but he brought this up the best he could to say that the vacuum at the top, that void of no ownership, it's a team frustration. It's just one microcosm of maybe a lot of other players frustrated at what's going on at the top or the lack thereof. A rudderless ship.
I'm frustrated just having to, because I think Bronco fans have been duped. I had to get out of that system because then once you get out of that system, you can see the full picture.
Yes.
You can see the full picture of what has transpired since Pat Bowlen has relinquished his duties as owner. people will realize, hey, you know what? We were blaming the wrong people here. And if I'm going to ask you this. If they fire Vic Fangio and they don't give this guy, I believe, give a coach 3 years. That is what I live by. That is what I believe in. You give a coach 3 years. But if they don't give this guy 3 years, they are going to become the New York Jets.
Well, they already are.
They're already the New York Jets.
I know. Whoa, no, don't say that. You're so untrue.
I don't care. You know what, Pat, the people that
Feel good.
Exactly. The people that are criticizing what we're doing and the people that are doing this crap, you know what? You guys can do whatever you want because you're getting paid to do this. But we're not getting paid to do this. I'm fired up about doing this stuff because I am sick and tired of listening to crap.
They're trying to say, oh, Von Miller, he doesn't like Fangio. But here's one for you. I'm beginning to believe this whole Fangio and Scangarello were butting heads was a line of crap. I have a feeling, I just got a feeling, that it was Scangarello and Elway who were butting heads.
And I don't about the Flacco thing. When he called out the offense coordinator in Indy, I believe that was partly Rich Scangarello, but I mean that guy was getting pummeled to a pulp that whole time he was in Denver. He was a statue. He was past his prime. We get that, but I think he was taking shots at Elway too, and that's why they put him on injured reserve.
Well,
I think they're like, we need to get rid of this guy. We're going to put in the young buck. He ain't going to talk. We're going to put in Brian, whatever his name was. We're going to put in these guys because they're not going to say anything.
Here's the thing. And it never made any sense. You haven't addressed your offensive line. Okay, for whatever the reason, you being a quarterback have not. Can you imagine Tom Brady as a GM not addressing an offensive line? I mean, letting it go from the time, 2013, maybe even before that.
I would say 2000. I would say before Peyton Manning got here. I'd say about 2011 when they were in the playoffs. That's when it started degrading. Well,
like I brought up before, Seattle showed.
True.
Seattle showed that offensive line needed to be revamped, or at least semi-overhauled. But so you've let this offensive line get to the point where you're thinking in your mind, Joe Flacco. Hey, do you remember there's a Simpsons episode, Monorail. Yeah, Flacco. I know it was Sports Talk Radio. We're cheerleading, bring in Flacco. And I'm like, wait a minute. You want to bring an immobile? Remember everybody in the comment was like, immobile? Are you crazy? You're crazy, immobile. How could you say immobile? Okay, I say an immobile quarterback you're bringing to a team that has no offensive line. Oh, we're the 5th best offensive line out there. And I've got all this.
God.
I'm like, what planet do you all live on to think the Broncos have any kind of offensive line?
And last time I checked, do you see any veteran free agents wanting to come to Denver?
Yes,
you're getting garbage free agents because there's a reason for it.
He's in his prime.
Yeah, Juwan James, the best right tackle in football.
No, I was like, no.
You're getting these players that all the teams are laughing at you right now. Belichick is taking shot after shot after shot at Elway.
Oh, that's been going on. Oh, you guys,
years.
Yes, and it's like I don't like the Patriots. Don't get me wrong. I hate the Patriots. But you're setting yourself up for this all the time. It's just. Remember,
at least the Patriots know what they're doing.
That's what the jabs are about. They never would jab Pat Bowlen. He's in the friggin' Hall of Fame.
He was too late. He should have been in before Jerry freaking Jones.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
That's another story for another day. Don't get me started with that crap.
Yeah, Jerry Jones like, well, we'll put in Snyder. We'll
put in one of the Hunts because they didn't. Yeah, they were so good. They had years where they were awful.
Yeah,
they had years under Pat Bowlen. They had more winning seasons. They had more Super Bowl appearances and losing seasons.
Yes, how soon we forget. How soon we forget. Just, and I knew it. I knew I was really worried about Elway. I thought this is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to work out good, he's a genius, or he's going to be Al Davis. We can't get rid of him because he's a fan favorite.
He has. I'm over Elway. I'm over him. I'm done with him. Get him out. I don't get back.
Raiders fans have to be laughing because
yeah, even Charger fans.
I'm saying Raiders fans because they went through this with Al Davis. Yeah, half the fan base saying, "Oh, we got to do something." The other, Al Davis is nothing wrong with him.
Why?
That's where we are.
Why do you think sports talk radio is so wrapped up of attacking the coaches, the players, but they don't hold the guy up top accountable? I'm so confused. I know that they're.
I know why they don't. I know why they don't.
Because they don't. I know that
they'll get locked out of the facility. You remember?
That's a price I'm willing to pay.
You remember Mike Shanahan? If you went into Dove Valley, there was this giant mural of him, and it's like such an embarrassment. I would, when I saw that, I'm like, you no head coaches. This is what makes Fangio such a good head coach. This guy has zero ego. He's more like, roll up the sleeves, let's get the job done kind of guy. The lunch pail guy.
You know who they were comparing him to after his first year, after those reports were coming out, how Jason La Canfora and all these dumbasses were coming out saying, "Oh, Fangio's losing the locker room." I knew that was a bunch of bullshit. And freaking sports talk radio is rolling that crap.
Well, that's why I think, again, this is why I think that it's just gotten to the point where Von Miller doesn't want to even, could you imagine John Elway being forced to talk to me? It would go exactly the same way. It would be no different. And sports talk radio would be, oh, yeah, he told him. Yes, that lowly little peon, he really showed him. But it would be it's just exactly what Von Miller did. It's two-faced, it's definitely double standard, and it's hypocrisy. And the players have had it, and I think Von Miller finally it came to a head. And Von Miller's going to be Von Miller, and he isn't going to put up with it.
I think he's going to leave.
Well,
I don't want to say that because I love Von Miller. I'm a Von Miller fan. I love that. I loved him before even DeMarcus was coming because I saw the potential, and I saw that I could see it. But players and coaches are not stupid. They're not going to say anything, but they're not stupid.
Well, no, Fangio probably wants a lifeline. He probably wants some way out of here.
Exactly. And I'm sitting up there. They were comparing Vic Fangio to Tom Coughlin. He's worse than Fangio. You do not. Vic Fangio.
I asked this. How come Vic? I asked the mile or whatever the Mile High Report, whatever these feel-gooders are, and Sports Talk Radio. If Fangio is so bad, why did he have success everywhere he went?
Because stability.
Everywhere he went. Well, because he knows what he's doing. But do you think those organizations actually helped him out and not cut him off at the knees?
Perfect example of this is when they had Devin Bush. They had a middle linebacker who could do it all, run sideline to sideline, who isn't the best in coverage but could get better because he's a young player. And Vic Fangio is good with linebackers. That I clearly understood. I'm like, yeah, Vic Fangio is not going to have a chance to get his players because they traded for Noah Fant, who I'm a fan of Noah Fant. I'm not saying that he's a trash.
I have something to say about that.
That was an Elway move.
I have something to say about all that. The offense has been they can't get Bush because they let the offense go so far down the tubes. Because Elway is myopic. He saw Seattle's defense, right? Okay, there's the defense. Well, what are we doing about the offense? Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Then he sees Kansas City, right? Whoa, Kansas City, I see it. Now it's, you know what I'm saying? he had to do something on the offense. So that was the sacrifice of Bush, because you don't balance.
I wouldn't sacrifice a
Look
player
at
like
special
that.
teams. You haven't brought anybody in at all. You haven't brought nobody in to develop. So your special teams looks like. Did you see that? I showed that that Spencer.
Cleveland.
Spencer, that guy, that guy, he's afraid to hit. He's afraid to make a hit. I'm telling you, I played and I've seen these players. I don't want to hit this guy. He was waiting for that block. Cleveland. We don't have anybody. We have Cleveland's on our teams. We have some star potential players, but there's no ground support for them.
We don't have depth.
The depth isn't there, no. And it shows on special teams.
And we don't.
And they want to. They got, again, fire the special teams coach. Well, who you bring in another guy? He doesn't have anybody.
You're gonna bring back Brock
fire
Olivo?
him. What?
Remember him? You're gonna bring back Brock Olivo with the Vance Joseph, Mike McCoy, Woods. You're gonna bring back that guy. That guy's gonna be probably the same as Tom McMahon. I don't. Oh my God. Fangio, I'm telling people right now, you you let this guy go. And I'm gonna tell you something. When I'm reading the tea leaves coming out of Doug Valley and all that crap, and I'm watching, I think him and Elway are already bumping heads. I think there is no reason for Vic Fangio to go to Elway and be like, I'm taking the fall for the crap that you've put on this team, and I know I could be a good head coach. I know I could be a really good head coach. And I think Elway is. I think Elway's sitting there just tails between his legs, doesn't know what to I was gonna cuss it.
No. He wants to be the yes man. You say yes to me. Everything you say yes to me. It's all ego.
Vance Joseph.
It's all ego. It is yes. Here's my little puppet, Vance Joseph. He'll say yes. He'll say yes to everything Yes, right. Yes, you just say yes. Everything's
and
right.
Look, he's on a Cardinals team which is doing pretty good right now. Has lost 2 straight, but started the season good. Got some really good players on that defense.
Well, yeah. Guess who he got? He got the guy I wanted.
Jacob Phillips. The guy that I wanted too. I wanted Schober. I wanted Littleton, but you didn't address it in free agency. You kept Todd Davis. You kept Alexander Johnson.
Well, he can't. You know why? Because he's got to pay that offensive lineman hot tub.
It's mind numbing to think that me and you could be a GM and you can
better than that.
See, exactly. You could be GM for the Denver Broncos, and you can see who's a good player and who's not a very good player. You could see it from the eye test in the film. It's not hard to do. But Elway wants to be smarter than everybody else.
Oh yeah,
he can get away with injury-prone free agent players that nobody wants. You're gonna bring in You're gonna have draft classes from 2014 to 2016 or 2013 to 2015 that are absolute dog crap. Oh, well, I'm going to draft athleticism instead of captains or good football players. Athleticism, that's why I drafted Paxton Lynch. That's why I drafted Carlos Henderson, who's not in the league anymore. Look at all the players that Elway has drafted and has not worked. Isaiah McKenzie in Buffalo. That is a perfect example. Look at what he's doing with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills! Oh my God!
It's just I can't take it much anymore. I've got a softball game I got to go to. I just keep ranting, but
I will say this. Just came up on my phone. They rescheduled the Patriot Bronco game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even have. I know I can't even get into it. And I knew it was going to happen too. Undetermined time. Undetermined.
Yeah, I didn't read the full message. It said Broncos Patriots rescheduled.
It may be during the Broncos bye, so they'll get the bye this week, and maybe they'll have to play on the Broncos. But maybe I don't know. I don't know who the Patriots are playing on their bye. So
who knows?
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that we'll talk about the next shit show that hits the fan.
Yep. All right. I'll let you go.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.